I'm not the section leader? Then why should I teach? Obligatory apology for mobile formatting. When I was a high school junior, I was second chair for the second violins in orchestra. My stand partner, the section leader, was this sophomore who I'll call Ben. Ben was an amazing violinist, and he knew it. He would frequently tell me THSTI was the only violinist in the section that he respected, which rubbed me the wrong way because he was actively insulting my friends. When we did sectionals, Ben would take advantage of our director being in a separate room to tear down everyone's confidence and basically just be a huge jerk about everything. During the second trimester, he wasn't able to take orchestra and I became the section leader. This may be self-congratulatory, but every person in the section came to me privately and told me that they much preferred me over Ben because I actually respected them. I made a point to use constructive criticism over straight criticism, and I admitted that I don't have a lot of free time to practice. So I understood that they couldn't dedicate their lives to high school orchestra. Third trimester, Ben came back. I was once again second chair, and he was first. He would make the weirdest comments like, "Hey girl, you miss me?" To which I would just roll my eyes and keep practicing. Despite these comments, he seemed to have mellowed out. Unfortunately, he didn't. First sectional, he went right back to yelling and degrading the second violins. I would often tell him to stop, and I would bring up how much progress we had made while he was gone. After I had mediated, he quieted down, at least, until I tried to explain some notation in the sheet music. He started yelling at me and kept repeating, "I'm the section leader. The only person that knows how things work is me." Quote. Cue malicious compliance. I started slacking off during sectionals. I would play with the full orchestra, and I did individual practice. But when we were separated, I completely ignored what was going on. Ben was obviously frustrated, but he couldn't really do anything. Until one day he got to the notation that I was trying to explain before. He had no idea what he was talking about, and so he asked me to explain it. My response? "Sorry Ben, but you're the section leader. I obviously don't know how to do anything." Ben stormed out and didn't show up to class again. I found out 2 weeks later that he had quit orchestra. I felt kind of bad about it, but that guilt went away quickly when I could hear the vast improvements my section made without being verbally abused constantly. TL. Doctor, I refused to do my snooty leader's job, then became the leader. I know it's not the most exciting story, but it's a small source of pride. I was first chair French horn in my high school band and orchestra until late in my sophomore year. In high school, the second chair was a much better natural musician, while I was a knowledge and practice type, making up for my lack of real talent by knowing most of the technical stuff. The band and orchestra director finally came to his senses and made him first chair, but told him, "He knows the technical side. You'll be a much better first chair if you listen to him before you talk to the third and fourth." And that worked out perfectly. As a professional violinist with music degrees and a career in orchestra, good job. I hope you forever broke his pride. I hate snooty elitist musicians who tear the rest of their team down. It isn't good sportsmanship, and all it does is give classical music a bad reputation. Playing in high school orchestra is all about having fun and learning about good leadership. It sounds like Ben missed the memo. Do you think he was this bad as he was the section leader for the second violins and he was miffed that he wasn't a first violin? And now Ben is some middle manager at a mediocre retail job making people's lives hell in, complaining that he peaked in high school. So, what was the musical notation? You did good. Seriously. Way to go. During high school, there was a cellist that thought he was God's gift to the world. He tried to organize a smaller group with the first and second chair of each section. I was asked and things were fine until he started being rude as well. Several people quit and the only reason I stayed was because a friend begged me. He threatened to throw the baton at me once and I just stared back and told him to go for it. I won that staring contest because he needed me more than I needed him. Some musicians can be such jerks so seriously. Way to shove it to him. He did this to himself, don't feel bad for 1 second. Hey, as a musician, it is great you made him realize he didn't like music as much as lording over people. The community is wrought with pissing contests and general toxicity, especially in the classical and jazz departments. Q. Did you miss me? And you are? Small source of pride? On the contrary, you are justified in taking great pride in this. You showed true leadership against pretty oppression. I was first chair for our trumpet section in marching band and jazz band. And us 4 trumpets just stuck together. I can't imagine how shitty practice could be if one person thought they were better than everyone. Michael Jordan was the league MVP for a couple years. But the Bulls weren't winning the championships. He was a star on a second-rate team. Once they started passing the ball around and nurturing the great talent they had on the team, they finally went all the way. Look at her. Look. She is the captain now. Hey girl, you miss me? Quote. Yes. Very often. And by the time I reload, you're usually out of range. Something similar happened when I was in high school. We had 3 section leaders and 2 of them fucked around and I was the only other senior, so I kind of stepped up since the freshmen kinda got along with me. Fast forward to December and we have a parade at night in cold-ass Michigan weather that I've gone to every year, so I decide to skip it. Because fuck the cold. Anyway, I went with my GF at the time to Target and out to eat, but as we left Target, my band director's wife was walking in. She asked if we were on our way and I just said no instead of lying. The next day in class, the band director made a comment to the drum majors about section leaders skipping the parade, and the drum majors had to remind him he didn't pick me and picked the lazy ones. As a music teacher, that's exactly what I would want my students to do. I almost never put my best player as a section leader. I always put my best leader as my section leader. Kids who are good at an instrument can be terrible for a section. I want people who want to make the section better. Good on you. This is a different story. I like it. And this is why section leader shouldn't just be the best player. Sometimes it should, if they're also good with people. But if it's just because they're the best player, blah. Music has some outdated traditions to work out of, especially orchestras. Way to be. Junior year. I was first chair of the clarinet section of the non-honors band. I was first. Another junior was second. Sophomore was third. Another junior was fourth. And the lone senior in our section was fifth. She was pissed. Fun part is, most of her fellow seniors hated her. I was very much congratulated about my first chair by them. She was one of the lone seniors in the entire non-honors band. Maybe 5 in total. Anyway, she tried to take over my job on the first day, handing out music, making sure the right people have the right parts. She took the music from my hand and gave herself and her stand partner. Fourth chair. First clarinet part. Didn't hand the bass clarinet her music. And then wondered why there was an extra third clarinet part. She ended up going to the band teacher and asked. He looked at her and said, with a smirk, "Talk to your section leader." I was right in front of them. I took the music and everything from everyone. Turns out, she was actually supposed to be second clarinet part. Served her right. The next year, I was put into the honors band and ended up in the third clarinet section. Perfectly content was I, as I knew the sophomores, juniors, and seniors ahead of me were better. I did have 2 clarinets behind me though.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.